Do you always need to create a persona if you're designing a voice experience? There's two kind of arguments on this. One argument would say that you should, depending on the kind of interaction that you're creating. The other argument says that you should regardless. So the first argument, we had Nick Carey on the podcast a few weeks back, a couple of months ago now actually. What he was saying is that there's a scale based on pure utility to pure kind of engagement, and depending on where you are on that scale will determine the amount of persona design that you should do. If you're on the pure utility side, and the whole point in your experience is just to be like a request and response thing, when's my parcel going to be delivered or something, then you don't need to invest quite as much time and effort into creating the persona. So the argument goes. On the other side, you have affinity and engagement. So if your experience relies on deep engagement, like a game or something like that, or something that someone comes back to repeatedly all the time, then you need to create some affinity, which means that you do need to design a persona. So think about whether you're creating something that is pure utility or relies on engagement, and that will help you decide whether or not, or how much effort you should put into designing a persona. However, if you speak to somebody like Wally Brill from Google or Cathy from Google, and many others, they will tell you, I would imagine, that you should design a persona regardless. Clifford Nass, in his book Wired for Speech, one of the things that he points out is that as soon as someone hears a voice, you can tell a persona, you can assign a persona to a voice when you hear it, right? So you can hear my voice now. If you close your eyes and you've never seen me before, you'll be able to tell my gender, you'll be able to have a stab at my age. They reckon you can also see and tell things like social kind of status and things like that, whether someone's kind of professional and educated or not. So there's a whole load of things that you can infer from someone's voice. Regardless, and I think this is a quote from Cathy Pearl's book, Designing Voice Interfaces, regardless of whether or not you consciously design a persona, you will have one anyway. Because of that fact that people hear a voice and they attribute a personality to it, if you don't design for that, you're going to get one anyway. The difference being is that if you do design for it, you can make sure that that is consistent. If you don't design for it, then everyone might interpret it slightly differently. Even on those one-shot utility-based interactions, there is still room, potentially still room, for a persona. And when we say persona, when I talk about persona, yes, we're talking about the voice and we're talking about the personality of the voice, but I'm also talking about the experience in general. So I'm including things like sonic branding and the auditory experience around it. So even though you might have a simple one-shot kind of request and response skill, like when's my next package going to be delivered, there's nothing saying that you shouldn't be trying to put your brand's stamp on that, whether that's through earcons and sounds and noises that communicate the essence of your brand, whether it's through a persona and a kind of character that is there to kind of shepherd you through the experience. Regardless, you should probably think about designing a persona.